Hello and welcome back to another opening for the Digimon card game. This time around, we've just had the Sakuyamon Advanced Starter Deck Amethyst Mandala come out. So let's get right into it. I already went ahead and cleared the tape so it's easier to open. This is now the third Advanced Starter Deck that we've gotten. So let's take a look at what we have. As always, we have our pack of sleeves. This time it's the card slash from Season 3 sleeves. I really like these sleeves. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get a deck in there. Maybe I'll put Sakuya itself. We have the brick, the deck brick itself. And then we have under here the playmat. So let's take a quick look at that. And here we go. I think it's a pretty nice looking playmat. We have the Sakuyamon Ace art as well as the new Renamon art, both the SRs, as always. Very nice, very pretty. It has the game flow, tells you what the different phases are. And the cool thing is, if we flip it to the back, it tells you general like flow and purpose of the game in general, obviously, using the cards in the starter deck. So it tells you option card, tamer card, Digimon card, Digi-Eggs. I don't know why it uses a Guiomon for the details. And then it tells you all the other information that I'm sure you all know here. So let's go ahead and use that playmat. Bam. All right. A bit closer up now as well. So we can take a better look at these cards. So let's get this holder out of here and we can go through these. So first things first, we have a new baby, a new Viximon. With the inherit, when you use option cards with the Onmyojutsu or plug-in trait, this Digimon may evolve into a Digimon card with Cubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon in its name. In the hand, the evolution cost reduced by 3. Bit unrelated to that effect. Oh my god, that's so much text on an inherited. I am not loving that. It's giving off Yu-Gi-Oh! Pendulum. But aside from that, it looks like they're very much trying to wean us away from Scramble and all that fun stuff. As you can clearly tell immediately by two things. First thing, the inherit lets us evolve by reducing. So obviously that means we don't need to run as much of those effects. But the second thing is that this is now starting to talk about option cards with Onmyojutsu or plug-in trait. So they added traits to the option cards so that they can control which ones most people are running in a deck. So obviously we get 4 of those, otherwise you don't really have a full deck. Next we have the Renamon. And as you could tell from that crazy foiling, this is an SR. So this one is one of the SRs that we get in this box. And as it's an advanced starter deck, we're going to be getting 4 different types of SR at 2 per copy. This says when moving and on play, by trashing 1 card in your hand, you may return an option card with Onmyojutsu or plug-in trait from trash to the hand. Just recycling option cards. Pretty good. And then the inherit barrier, I guess that they saw people running the Starmons or other level 4s that gave barrier in Sakuyamon, and so they're like, sure, we'll just give you barrier. And you get 2 copies of that, like I mentioned. After that, we have this Cubimon. When moving when evolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add one with Renamon, Cubimon, Taomon, Sakuyamon, or Rika in its name, or the Onmyojutsu or plug-in trait. So you just get 1, and you look at top 3, but it's on a level 4, and it's also when moving, so you don't feel bad evoing it in the back. And we get 4 copies. We have a new Taomon. On play when evolving, no more when moving. Until your opponent's turn ends, one of their Digimon can activate 1 evolving effects and gets minus 3k. So you're essentially protected against 1 Digimon acing, and if you can, clear the other Digimon, then you're only worried about that 1 Digimon, you're good. And then also has when attacking, you may use 1 option card with the Onmyojutsu or plug-in trait from your hand or under your tamers. Ooh, that's interesting. Without playing the cost. So at least it seems like they learned from the previous Talmon. It doesn't play the option card when evolving, so you can't do crazy stuff But you can still do some crazy stuff because they did give it an inherit end of attack by trashing your top security card, one of your Digimon with Sakuyamon in its name, unsuspends. So first of all, one of your Digimon, so you can unsuspend something else if you really want to. And second of all, it's end of attack, so clearly the intention here is attack, use an option with that inherit. Viximon will trigger, letting you Evo, and then end of attack you can trash to unsuspend. So that seems pretty good. Unsuspending is always going to be good, and using options for free also always really good. Next we have Sakuyamon Ace, the second now of the 4 SRs that we should expect. We have Hand Counter, Blast Evolve, obviously. It can evolve on a made mode as an effect for 1. It's a 3-cost Evo. Otherwise, has on play when evolving, when attacking, you may play a Pipe Fox token, which is the 6k yellow blocker. Then you may use one option with Onmyo Jutsu or plug-in trait from your hand or under your tamers without paying the cost. So another way to just free play those option cards, and again referencing from under tamers. So those, like I said. And right after that, we have another SR with Sakuyamon Maid Mode. On play when evolving, you may use one option card with the Onmyo Jutsu or plug-in trait from your hand or under your tamers without paying the cost. And then all turns, when you use option cards or your security stack is removed from, by placing one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP as the bottom security card, trash their top security card. So it's essentially removal, and it gets around a decent amount of stuff, but not everything. And it's also when your security is checked from. I think it's alright. This one's okay. The fact that it's 4 cost, I think, is going to be more inhibitive, and it's an extra 1 cost. It's an extra combo piece. Not bad, but I think it's probably going to stay at a 1 or 2 of. Then we have the new Rika, only 2 of. It has start of main phase and on play. By placing one option card with the Onmyo Jutsu or plug-in trait from your hand under this tamer, draw 1, gain 1. Giving me the vibes of the new Justimon stuff with the start a main, you place a option and then draw gain. Kind of cool if you think of the flavor, because she is supposed to be the next top Digimon card game player after Rio disappears. And then it has your turn when one of your Digimon with Renamon, Cubimon, Taomon, Suguyamon in its name attacks. By suspending this tamer, you may use one Onmyo Jutsu or plug-in trait option card with as high or lower a cost as that Digimon's level from under this tamer without paying the cost. Kind of nice to see the restriction of it being this tamer, so you have to be conscious about where you're placing your options. You can't place everything under one, and then it doesn't matter, you tap both of them for the effect. But aside from that, it's also cool that they have the restriction of as high or lower the use cost as that Digimon's level. So if you're swinging with a Renamon, which is the lowest you can go, you can only pay cost of 3, which, as you can see here, the offense, maybe you can't, is 4 cost. So you can't play that. But I'm guessing most of the plugins are going to be 4 to 3. Maybe they're going to make some more powerful ones and they'll stick it to 6 so that Taomon can't play it. We'll see how that goes. But that's pretty cool overall. So same as before, you have memory gain effect, as well as you having a effect that would let you play those options for free. And a quick actually aside on that, placing an option card to draw 1, gain 1, that's great for letting you fill your deck with these plugin and Onmyojutsu trait options while still letting your deck function, because then you can start filtering them out. So we have then offensive plugin V. This is a 4 cost. Obviously has the plugin trait. You get 2 of it. And then it says while you have a tamer, you can ignore this colors requirement. Very similar templating to the older plugins. But then that's where the similarities kind of end, because it has security on the card here because it has a link effect. So we'll go through from top to bottom. Security, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP, then add this card to hand. Already massively massively better than the old plugins, which did basically nothing in security in order to disrupt your opponent. Maybe a couple of them did, but that's about it. And then it has a main. You may link this card to one of your Digimon without paying the cost. Then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as one of your Digimon. Another way to have removal, and you're playing these for free, even better. And then it says it links to level 3 or higher for a cost of 2. So if you really want to, you can just pay 2 and link this to any cost 2. So this is the first instance of a link card not being to Appmon. And then you have end of your turn, this Digimon may attack, which is a really good effect, especially as you know with the Talmon being there. So I kind of have to slightly take back what I said about them not letting you do super crazy stuff as turn is passing, because clearly as soon as you get this card, you can do that super crazy stuff and then gain memory if you can, and then it's all kinds of crazy you can do that I'm sure you've seen before. Then we have 2 high-speed plug-in H. While you have a tamer, you can ignore this card's color requirements. In security, until your turn ends, one of your opponent's Digimon or tamers can't suspend, so you can get around blockers. And you can stop things like evade and alliance, and you can stop aggression. Main, you can link this card to one of your Digimon without paying the cost. Then one of your opponent's Digimon or tamers can't suspend. Digimon or tamers, again, pretty good because it stops also stuff like Davis and Kent from stripping your sources and gaining memory. And then the link effect is jamming. Pretty straightforward, all things considered. And then we get to the namesake of the deck, the Amethyst Mandala. This is the Onmyo Jutsu, and I'm sure we're going to get more Onmyo Jutsu trait cards. There's no way they just printed the one. It says when effects trash this card from security, activate its security effect, which makes sense because you had some effects already here that let you trash your top security. Then the security alterns is when any of your Digimon with Renamon, Cubimon, Taumon, or Sakuyamon in their names would leave the battle area other than in battle. By trashing this card, one of those Digimon doesn't leave. So this is protection, but it's not a link protection or not a source and inherit protection. This is a protection that lives in security. And you can have multiple in there, and then you have multiple protections. And so you see the main here is draw one, then place this card face up as the bottom security card. So if you had this under Rika, you swing with a Sakuyamon, you just play this out, you have protection. And then when it gets trashed, by its own effect, it activates its security effect to give something minus 9k. Seems pretty good. As a 2 of, obviously, this being the last of the 4 SRs. And then we get to the last new card here, which is the Defense Plugin F. F's in the chat. While you have a tamer, you can ignore this card's color requirements. Security, Digivolve 2, one of your opponent's Digimon, then add to hand. You may link this card to one of your Digimon without paying the cost. Until your opponent's turn end, one of your Digimon gains reboot and plus 3k, which makes sense because it has blocker as the link effect. So I'd say in general, they gave these cards kind of the best and the most varied protections and removals. So you have protection, you have the Digivolve and reboot blocker, you have jamming and something can't suspend, and then you have delete based on DP and end of turn attack. All amazing effects. Honestly, the only thing I can think of is maybe if they give this Sec +1 somehow. Um, I don't know. Hard to say, but yeah, all really good effects. They really want this to be A, different than how Sakuyamon currently is, and B, they do want it to still be strong. And they still want it to kind of mostly interact with stuff. And then we have reprints. So we have the EX2 Renamon. These are always nice to see, and especially because it's an advanced deck, it's all foiled. So we have this is the original Searcher Renamon. Reveal the top 4, add a Cubimon, Talmon, or Sakuyamon its name, and a Rika. And then it has the inherit when you use an option with a use cost of 2 or more, gain a memory, which is pretty good. You get 2 of those. And then you get a Renamon from BT17. The on-play reveal top 3, add 1 Digimon with Cubimon, Talmon, or Sakuyamon its name, and 1 Rika, or use cost 2 or higher option card. So that's pretty good. Searcher there, a lot better than this one in general. And then also it has inherit when you use an option card, use cost of 2 or more, give one of your opponent's Digimon sec -1 until their turn ends, so you can kind of get around something that you can't remove. You get 4 of these. You get the BT19 Cubimon, so very varied. This is the one that is the better tamer player. If you have one or fewer tamer, you may play a Rika from your hand. And then inherit when you use an option card. Use cost 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k. So again, pretty good. 4 of these. Then you get the Taumon. Barrier when evolving, you may use one option card that is yellow or has plugin in its name from your hand with the use cost reduced by 2. And then inherit when attacking. If this Digimon has Sakuyamon's name, you may use an option card that is yellow or has plugin in its name. So it still synergizes with the plugins and can play the Amethyst Mandala as well. But we'll see. And then we also have a reprint of the Talmont Ace with this gold border that was like and text, similar to the BT1415 Ghost Rays that had like the crest. It's kind of hard to see, especially because it's yellow with gold, but I think it's really cool that they're reprinting SRs. I feel like it's so rare that we get SR reprints in these. So this is actually huge, in my opinion, in terms of new player compatibility. Obviously, hand counter Blast Evo, and I'll play when evolving. If it's your turn, you may use one single color, use cost 5 or lower option card from your hand. If it's your opponent's turn for the turn, give one of their Digimon sec -1, and it can't activate when evolving effects. Also has the inherit when attacking one of your opponent's Digimon gets -4, which isn't once per turn, so it synergizes with the unsuspending. But this is just like really an ace option if you really want it. And then you also have Sakuyamon X, another SR that they reprinted. So I was saying how advanced decks have 4 SRs, but with these two, it's actually 6, especially if you're a new player. And then they also gave them an extra treatment, nothing crazy, just the gold, right? For people who are old returning players who want to play stuff. So it's still worth it for them. Similar with all these like foils on these commons and uncommons. Sakuyamon X, I'm sure you guys know, level 6 evolves on level 6 with Sakuyamon in name without X antibody. For 1 cost when evolving, if Sakuyamon or X antibody is in this Digimon's evolution card, play 1 Ukanomitama token. This is the 9k rush one. The interesting thing to note with this, in case people didn't know, is that even though it can evolve on a made mode, it doesn't get to play the token unless it also has a Sakuyamon in its sources. So it can let you go Sakuyamon made mode Sakuyamon X and still play the token, but it won't let you go made mode and then X and play the token. Then it has your turn once per turn. When one of your Digimon attacks, you may use one single color option with a use cost of 5 or less from the hand without paying cost. If you use this effect, if you use an option with this effect, one of your Digimon unsuspends. So this is kind of like your OTK setup situation. Plus you have another unsuspend here. So now you have 3 swings. No sec +1 here. However, we can always go back and get sec +1 other ways, or just swing with 2 things because we have rush. I actually completely forgot to mention it. Sakuyamon Ace has Alliance, so you do 2 checks with that. More accurately, you swing with this play a token, unsuspend it, an Alliance, and then as long as you can play out another body, and then you swing, go into the Sakuyamon X and use an option, unsuspend, that's 2 more checks, and you play a rush token, so you swing Sakuyamon at that point, and you swing rush, and you unsuspend as well. So clearly, there's an OTK there. Not crazy, not surprising either with the way Digimon is now. And then lastly, we get the BT19 Rika reprinted. This is arguably the best Rika because it's an on-play search for a QB, Rena, Tau, or Sakuyamon in its name, and an option with plugin in its name. Really good. And then also when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more by sending it, you gain 2 memory. So pretty strong. And then the last, but certainly not least, is we have 2 yellow scramble and 2 training. Huge, 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 huge reprints, especially for newer players. I'm really happy to see that. Like, unironically, this is really good. I'm going to move these aside for now because I want to go through the keyword effects and rules. Again, in my opinion, amazing for new players. This is what Starter Decks should always be, an amazing entry point for new players, because like otherwise how are you getting people in? You don't want to get people in and tell them you have to get a whole bunch of boxes or cards from a whole bunch of boxes, figure out singles. Like some people do want to do that, but other people want something easy to get into the game, figure out what the game is like. And this is what that does. Especially because cool the keyword effect and rules text glossary is such a tiny thing that they can add. It barely increases the cost for making these, and it's so useful for a new player. My god, are there so many keywords in this game. But that's still really cool. And then the last thing to go over is the extra cards. So if you recall, back in Beelzemon time, when the Beelzemon Advanced Starter Deck came out, we got all alt arts. And you got one of each except for the Pagu and the Imp, I'm pretty sure. That one was really cool because back then they reprinted a secret rare, which was kind of awesome and rare. Then we go into the Double Typhoon, and in those bonus ones, you again get one of each, except you get Magnamon, which was a new card, which is kind of interesting. This time, they did all new cards. We do have a Dogachmon here. So it fuses on Gatchmon, Navimon, and Tweetmon, two of those. For those who don't know, fuse, you just need two of those. You don't need all three. For a cost of 0, it has Raid, and then when attacking, you may link a Digimon with the Social, Navi, or a Tool trait from your hand or from its sources to this Digimon, reducing the link cost by 2. And then it also has one linking, return one of your opponent's 5k or lower to the bottom of the deck. Not bad. I don't think it's a terrible card. I think this means that the deck can run only the Dogach side and only have like one playset of the other one to link. Might be worth messing around with. I'm probably going to mess around with it. And then the new update, though, that I do really like is that they give you 2 of these. So that's pretty cool because that means if you're getting 2 of the starter decks, you're getting a playset of every card that you'd ever get in a starter deck. New and old, you just have a playset of everything. We have a new Grand Galemon with Fortitude, which is really good, as well as Vortex. And then on play when evolving and when attacking, not once per turn, you may suspend one Digimon, then this Digimon gets plus 3k. So it can get up to 13k if it evolves and then attacks, which it can attack usually when it evolves because it has Vortex, or when you play it and then attack because of Vortex. It also has the inherit when attacking if your opponent has no unsuspended Digimon. This Digimon with the Vortex Warrior trait may unsuspend. So another way to unsuspend, meaning that Zephagamon now has more aggro options, which is something I think it was missing, especially on an empty board. Because it says if your opponent has no unsuspended Digimon, that would also be true if they have no Digimon whatsoever. Next, you have kind of a weird one in my opinion, Barbamon. I think they're really trying to make this kind of mill deck work. Still hasn't shown itself to work. I feel like mill is such a finely tuned type of win con because if it's very viable, it will dominate the meta because you can ignore basically anything your opponent is doing and just mill them out. And then otherwise, if you tune it down, it makes it not viable at all, and then it doesn't do anything. It's too slow. So we'll see how this ends up rolling out, but we get a fallen, it evolves on a fallen angel or a CS, which is kind of funny because it was a villain in CS. And when it would be played, if your opponent has 10 or more in either their hand or trash, you can reduce the cost by 5. So it's pretty good for 7 Demon Lords if the effect is good. So let's find that out. On play and when evolving, your opponent trashes cards in their hand, so they have 6 left. If you don't trash any cards, you may play a level 5 or lower falling trait Digimon from your trash without paying the cost. Ooh, that's kind of good. Because the Digimon card game makes you draw basically all the time. This is essentially making it so that your opponent has to be at 6. And if they're at 6 already, then you get to play out probably a Lucemon fall down mode, which is going to be quite devastating. It also has end of your turn. If your opponent has 6 or more in their hand, they trash one of them. Then if they have 5 or fewer, delete one of their lowest level Digimon. So off rip, you hard drop this card, you trash their hand down to 6, you end the turn, they have 6, so they trash one, they have now 5, so you delete their lowest level Digimon. Pretty good, honestly. I think this means that the 7 Great Demon Lords deck might be making a little bit of a comeback. I don't know if it's going to be meta relevant, but it was already kind of close to being meta relevant. So this might be the thing that pushes it over the edge. And then finally, and I really do like this, we have a Pipe Fox gorgeous token, as well as the Uka no Mitama, another gorgeous token. Both of them fully foiled, fully textured, absolutely beautiful. I think this is an amazing starter deck overall. And a really quick recap again on tokens. Bandai is making a rules change such that they want you to make a best effort to source the tokens. I think this kind of means that you have no argument if you're playing starter deck Sakuyamon cards that you don't have the Sakuyamon tokens. Again, like I mentioned in a previous video, I believe that the reason they're doing this is because they want to minimize the amount of people who bring in their own custom arts and stuff like that. Regardless, just letting you know that that is a new rule put into effect, so don't get dinged for that. Use the official tokens. The last thing I want to do is I want to go over a quick example deck and what things you can do with this deck. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't come up with this deck on my own. I did utilize a YouTube channel that I do follow over in Japan. I'll link the video in the description of this one if you want to take a look at how this deck performs. The other thing that's cool about this deck example right here is this is all cards that you get out of the starter deck. So if you really want to try out and play Sakuya, you pick up 2 starter decks and you can build this exact deck card for card. Quickly go over it. The Viximon, you know what this does. It's going to reduce your evolution cost when you use option cards. Then you have the Renamon. This is the best one. It searches, so you're putting at 4. It's the best searcher. You have this one at 3. It's a pretty good searcher as well, but it's also a really good inherit effect. And then this one to recover your cards, especially late game. And then you have Barrier. Yeah, so next up we go to level 4s. We have 2 of this Cubimon. It just plays out a Rika. So important to have, but you're probably going to be hard playing those Rikas because you're playing the one that searches. It gives you memory, so you want a lot of those, and you're playing the one that on play would already draw you and gain 1 and start filtering your hand. So I don't think you're too hard pressed to evo this out front, but you have the option. You have a 2 of those. Then you have this Cubimon, one moving, one evolving. You search even more. You got to get those cards in hand, and it's 4 of a barrier inherit, which is really good. You have 1 ace because you do want that ace threat. You don't want to have nothing to do on your opponent's turn. And then you have the new Talmon. You don't use the old Talmon because you want to be end of attack, trashing your top security so you can unsuspend. You have the Sakuyamon X antibody because it can let you unsuspend and it plays a Digimon with Rush, so it alone threatens 2 extra checks. You have the Sakuyamon Ace because you get to play a token. It has Alliance, so it effectively has Sec +1, and you get to use an option card for free. You have the Sakuyamon Maid mode as a one of. Again, this is good slight removal and good extra stuff if you need it to control opponent's board. I already went over the Rikas. You have 3 of the offensive plugin. The end of turn to attack is actually pretty damn good, just because it means that you can go into this guy and end of turn attack, and you start your combo that way, and you use this plugin end of turn attack, and then you can gain memory maybe with a Rika as an example, or something along those lines. And it's also removal. That's the other really good thing to note here. 2 of the jamming and can't suspend ones, 2 scrambles. As always, scramble is good. For physical training, we always want to be searching cards and setting up for future plays. 3 Amethyst Mandala because it's great for draw. You can place as many of them at the bottom security. It is effectively a recover as well as protection. And then 2 blocker reboot with the Digivolve as well effect, which is important and good to see. To quickly go over the OTK line, the main thing you want to notice is the fact that you can get Alliance on the Sakuyamon Ace. What this means is that this is your Sec +1. And so you have an unsuspend with the Talmon and an unsuspend with the Sakuyamon X. So given that, you're getting 3 swings, and then you also have a rush body. With those 3 swings and a rush body, you want 2 swings that are Sec +1. You swing Alliance, 2 checks, you play out your blocker token, that's what you alliance with. At the end of the attack, you unsuspend with the Talmon. You want to at some point have played the offensive plugin, so either using a Rika effect or using the Sakuyamon effect itself. You know how end of turn this Digimon may attack. This makes it so that if you're at 2 memory, you can hard drop this for 3, still attack with the Sakuyamon Ace Alliance again. So now you're doing the second 2 checks, so you're doing 4 checks. And then at the end of that attack, given some Rikas and or this inherit right here, you want to be back at 0 or at 1. If you haven't used the Viximon, you can use the Viximon effect when you use an option to go into the Sakuyamon X antibody after you have allianced. You won't get this effect immediately, but what you will get is you will have played the Ukeno Mitama Digimon with Rush. So then after your 2 checks, you can either, if you have 1 memory, just Evo this, or if you've already Evoed, swing that Rush Digimon, use the effect when your Digimon attack to use an option, and then also unsuspend the Sakuyamon, because that's more likely to stay on the field than the token, and you swing lethal. So we're back to having an OTK in Sakuyamon. Not necessarily the most optimal compared to the crazy, crazy, crazy OTK that we had with the Valder arm. And again, this deck list is running purely starter deck cards. So keep that in mind. Obviously, you can upgrade this deck list with ruin modes or whatever you would like, honestly, to mess around with. But this is a great starting point for what the deck can do. Now, with that being said, that is it for my video and the unboxing and my thoughts and discussion about the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about the new deck. Let me know what you think about the direction of the new bonus cards. I personally, I don't love always having new unique cards in the starter deck, but if you are going to have new unique cards in a starter deck, this is probably the best way you could do them. I do really like the effort that they put in. All the bonus cards are textured and foiled, not just some. Personally love that. Let me know if you guys are interested in playing this deck. Let me know if you think that it's too powerful or not powerful enough. And if you enjoy my content, as always, please like, subscribe, comment, give me your engagement. It really helps out the channel. And I'll see you next time.